Believe it or not, September is over. That's right. Q3 is done and passed, and we are already into Q4 here in Calgary. So let's look at what's happening in the market and find out maybe what's going on in your area. Oftentimes, we talk about Calgary in the sense of quadrants: northwest, southwest, northeast, southeast, of course. That's what we grew up with. That's what we know. But the City of Calgary and the Calgary Real Estate Board have begun to divide things into districts to give us a little more distinction, and it helps us to understand where things are at with the price. But in this breakdown today, we will look at districts, which should give you a great snapshot as to what's happening in your area. As you're probably aware, inventory is climbing, prices are wobbling, and buyers might find it a little bit easier to get into a home. Deep breath, everyone. All right, let's give you a quick big picture update. Although September saw over 1,700 sales, the new listings rocketed to just over 3,700, pushing inventory up to nearly 7,000 units. That's 36% higher than last year. The sales to new listing ratio dipped to 45%, and months of supply hit 4, the highest since 2020. What does that mean? Well, buyers aren't tripping over each other at open houses anymore. Showings aren't so crossed over, and competing offers are, well, almost non-existent. The benchmark price for all of Calgary is $572,000, which is down 4% year over year. Now that we've seen a little snapshot of what's happening across the city, let's dive into what's happening in each district. I'll touch on just a brief highlight for each district to tell you what's been going on. City Center. Benchmark prices here are around that $560,000 mark. Of course, lots of condos, apartment style, and so lots of multifamily. The winner for resilience, the prices actually went up. Really? Up? Yeah, that's right. The year-over-year benchmark price went up 4.4% from last year. Okay, that's positive news. Well, hold your seats if you're in the Northeast. Prices there dropped 7.9% year over year, and the benchmark price is now at $485. It's the biggest price decline anywhere in the city, and you may not want to look at your city assessment. In the North District, we find a 6% increase to $534,000. It has the biggest months of supply climb at nearly 4 months, however, a clear tilt toward a buyer's market. In Calgary's Northwest, the benchmark price went up 2.3% to $633,000. But apartments, well, they dipped with a large 7% dip year over year. Moving to the West District, benchmark prices are just over the $700,000 mark and are up 6.5% year over year. In the South District, benchmark prices are up 3.2% at $569,000. They're stable, but row and townhomes fell 5%. In the Southeast District, benchmark prices were flat at $563,000, but apartment values did slide 8.6%. This seems to be a trend through the city, with condo apartments definitely not holding their value currently and taking a big hit. Lastly, in our East District, benchmark prices are at $409,000. If you're looking for a deal, that's where they are. They're down 6% and certainly not seeing a current influx. All right, stepping outside of Calgary proper, we're going to move just to some of the surrounding areas where our commuters might be. Looking at Airdrie, Airdrie's benchmark price is at $526,000, and the real marker here to look at is the months of supply. Over 4 months, we are at 4.3 months, which is the highest since 2020, which means don't expect your home to sell anytime too quick. Moving out to the west, Cochrane, benchmark prices are at $584,000, and inventory is up 83% year over year. There's certainly a lot of builds out there, but also something's going on. Supply is now over 5 months, and I'm guessing you as a buyer could probably get a pretty sweet deal if you're willing to be patient. Lastly, we look at Okotoks. The Okotoks benchmark price is $613,000 and is still a tight 2.25 months of supply. but the prices have dipped 3% year over year. Moving more into our property types, let's take a look citywide as to what's going on with your style of home. Detached homes benchmark price across the city is at $750,000, which is basically holding steady with a 1% increase year over year. Semi-detached or duplexes are up as well, but again, just that 1% holding steady around that $685,000 mark. All right, moving to row townhomes. Prices are actually down with townhomes 5%. They're coming in around $437,000 and have the highest inventory since 2018. Lastly, apartments are $322,000. They're down 6% across the city. They're seeing some really big drops. If you've got a condo in the Northeast, sorry to say, that's even a higher percentage drop at 10%. All right, looking ahead, everybody wants to know, as 2025 closes up, what does 2026 have in store? Well, I think we're going to see much of the same. More listings will continue to come on and going to ease that pressure in the market. Price adjustments may continue to persist, especially with condo apartments, as we all well know that Calgarians love their green space. But what's being forecast is still a steady migration, some continued cuts in the lending rate as we saw this last month, and highly likely that we just continue along this path of a balanced market. No, sorry for all of those who are looking for that crash or that doom and gloom. It's not likely to happen. Calgary is still a market and a city that people want to move to. They want to be here. They want to raise their families here. And for that reason, we're going to continue to see a strong market, or at least a balanced one, here in Calgary. But hey, this is the market that we want to be in. Everybody seems to think that they want to be in a seller's market and get a really high price with competing offers for their house. But let's be honest, we all are stressed and trying to find that new home. I think we will be continuing in 2026 in a balanced market that has benefits for both buyers and sellers. If you're looking for a specific valuation on your home, like I always say, reach out, be happy to help you out and tell you where things are at, specifically in your community and with your home. Thanks for watching. I hope this was helpful. Have a great one.